Hello and welcome to Female Founders. I'm Rachel McCord. Today we have Hillary Simon, the founder and CEO of Have a Nice Day, as well as the fabulous Jpalmer, founder and CEO of Jpalmer Collective. Okay, we are here with Hillary Simon, the founder and CEO of Have a Nice Day. Wow, thank you for what you're doing in the world. You are truly incredible, making a difference. You've created a platform that helps incredible organizations secure funding that they need and support from donors at scale. Can you tell us what inspired you to create this platform?
Well, many reasons, right? I wanted to first and foremost help get immediate aid to people in need during a time of crisis. When a crisis emerges, there's no lack of information about what's going on and what's happening, but there's a huge lack of direction on where to go, how to help, and who to trust. When I started doing my research, I was constantly directed to some of these bigger organizations, and I learned that only a small amount of your dollar actually goes to the people in need. And so I wanted to change that. I wanted to find these local charities within these communities to help provide funding for them, because it's so challenging for them to raise money today because of all of the different algorithms there are. And then secondly, my daughter, social media, the toxicity of social media today is at the root of the mental health crisis. And I wanted to provide an alternative experience for young kids today to be able to connect through kindness, engage through positivity, and then build community through that.
That's incredible. And this isn't the first time that you've been investing in female empowerment in general. But I think in this case, it's so incredible because you realize these organizations are struggling to find the funding that they desperately need to make the changes in the world that they're passionate about doing. And you've really done that.
Exactly.
Can you tell me how you built this? This is an amazing platform.
Yeah, so I built it much like the social media platforms you see today, right? We made that experience very similar, but we took away that toxic environment. We took away the likes, we took away the follows, and we really focus on philanthropy, right? So on the platform, you can donate, you can fundraise, you can host in real life events, you can also find volunteer opportunities within your area, and then you can also just raise awareness. You can engage and connect with the organizations that you're passionate about, and you can follow the activists as well.
I love that. Now, as an entrepreneur, this is not your first game. We actually connected with one of your other ventures, the Style Club, which you took onto Shark Tank. You got 2 offers from Mark and from Darren and ended up with an investment from Mark Cuban. How was that experience?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, being on that set was just such an amazing opportunity to just be part of that. I'm always amazed by how they were able to edit down about what was a 2.5-hour pitch into 5 minutes. And then working with Mark, he's probably one of the smartest businessmen I know, and it was just an incredible learning experience for me.
I love that. Can you tell us some of the key wisdom that Mark shared with you?
He is probably the only person that is able to poke a hole through any sort of business opportunity that comes my way. And sometimes I'll never see it, and he'll poke the smallest hole. And I'll be like, oh, you're right. I didn't see that coming. And so I think that made me smarter, act faster, act quicker, and make better decisions.
That's incredible. I know exactly what you're talking about. And those questions become so key because when you can identify what the answer really is, then you have solved that problem. But it's important to have people who challenge you, people who help you get into the fight and do it well. And you've fought a lot. You've worked really hard. You've built this. Your mom was an entrepreneur. You've seen that journey, but then you've charted your own path. Can you talk a little bit about what that journey's been like, what that fight has been like?
Yeah, I mean, as a woman, as a female entrepreneur, we have a whole new set of obstacles and challenges that we have to overcome, right? It's still a boys' club today, but it is getting better. And women just have to be able to stick together and support each other, much like you do. You're such a great supporter of women in this show, of what you're doing here. And we just need to keep doing more of that. Women need to stick together because it is a hard, long road, and we just need to fight.
I want to talk a little bit about your journey of empowering women, because of course with the Style Club, you really worked with some of the most amazing, well-known celebrities, but you also focus on community and making a difference. So can you talk a little bit about your business model there and how it plays into what you do today?
Yeah, so with the Style Club, I really just wanted to create an inclusive experience and unite young women together and show them that everything is possible, like you said, right? You can come from humble beginnings and you can make anything happen. You can make your dreams come true. And so I wanted to help provide that for these young women and show them the way, right? So we focused on teaming up with these young indie designers and artists, and I put them on front and center in these big retail doors that they probably would never get the opportunity to do so. And I've just always been a big advocate for providing access, providing them the platform. I know that I'm going to knock down those doors and I'm going to open them up for all of these young girls out there.
You're obviously empowering so many people, myself included. I'd love to speak about what kind of advice that you would like to share, what you feel like other people could really hold on to, because you've accomplished a lot. You've done one of the scariest pitch stages at Shark Tank. I mean, you've gone in the Shark Tank. So you've actually really seen that fear and that stress, and you really transitioned into something incredible. So can you speak a little bit about what advice you would share?
I would say just get started. Just get out there, get started. Know that you're getting in that ring. Don't forget those gloves, because you're going to have to fight. I was lucky in the sense that I had a mother to look up to, and I watched her. She was a full-time mom, and she started and ran a TV station in the early 80s, which was unheard of. So I watched her break that glass ceiling. But now with social media today, the one positive that there is that you can follow people like you. They can follow, young women can follow a lot of these female entrepreneurs and see how, get some advice, watch how they did it, and kind of, you've got to figure it out. You just got to figure it out on your own.
Absolutely. And I love what you touched on, because I think role models are so important. Being able to see what could happen, to see yourself, to dream big, to come to Times Square and think, wow, is this really possible? Can I really be a part of it? There's an energy here in the city, and there's a moment here, I think, that just really lends itself to dreaming big and to succeeding. So I want to talk about what fuels your tank. What gives you that encouragement when you're ready to say, you know what, I've taken some blows, I want to take a step back?
Yeah, I've definitely taken some blows. I definitely have had those doubts. And again, I go back to what I experienced growing up with my mother and watching her every day, fight. And, she was in a completely male-dominated industry, right? And I watched her and I studied what she did, and she was remarkable. I was always blown away by how she was able to just, be holding my brother and I and be like, okay, I'm ready to go. Here's how it is. I definitely have had my doubts. I have my bad days. I have my off days. But what keeps me going, now it's not just me anymore. I have my little girl. I'm paving the way for her. So it's like before I was ambitious and motivated and all these things, and I just was fighting for myself. But now I have this little girl. Watch out, So that gives you that strength and that courage that you never knew that you could have.
And speaking of this little girl, and to all the little girls out there, big and little, we all have a little girl in us. What would you really want her to take away and to be able to step away and say, wow, my mom did this? This one piece of advice that you would want to give her, what would that be?
Ooh, I just want her to be happy. And that's what this platform is about, right? This platform is about have a nice day. And what I want in this world more than anything is unity. We've become so divided. We've become so one-sided. But one thing that I believe that we can all agree on is we all just want to have a nice day. And so I just want to see her happy, running in fields, green grass, enjoying her day, helping others, sharing within a community, and just spreading positivity. That's all I want.
I love that with your platform, Have a Nice Day, because I think knowing that there are people in a different country or even in our own backyard who are struggling, and we can make a donation, we can give $5, we can volunteer, we can host an event.
We can just smile and say hi.
Smile, yes. Like compliment someone. You just never know. I can't tell you how many times I've seen someone crying at an airport or at an event or a dinner or something, right? And you just walk up to them and say, hey, are you okay? Or give them a tissue or something, just like be there in that moment. And how many of us are afraid to do that? How many of us stay silent when things matter, stay silent when we need to make a difference? And I love that you're giving them the tools to not be silent, to actually step forward and to make a difference. Okay, can you tell us where we can grab the platform, download it, all the goods?
So the platform will launch in about a few weeks. We're very soon to launch, but you can find us on Have a Nice Day at nicedayapp.com, Nice Day app on social media, and at the Apple Store.
Wow, you are such an inspiring female founder. Thank you so much for coming to the show. I'm so honored to be in the journey with you. I can't wait. I definitely want to do more with what you're up to because it's really incredible. And I'm excited to know there's another mama out there making a difference. Thank you so much, Hillary. All right, don't go anywhere. Coming up next, we have Jpalmer from Jpalmer Collective. We are here with Jpalmer of Jpalmer Collective. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Rachel, for having me.
Yeah, it's such an honor. You are a true female founder, mother of 4 girls. You are helping companies secure crucial funding to be able to extend their runways with their capital, but also helping them retain equity. Can you speak a little bit about how you founded Jpalmer Collective?
It is really hard for females to get funding. So whether it be debt or equity, and maybe I'll just explain. The best way to think about it is debt is like dating. So it's temporary and it can be refinanced and it doesn't have to be forever, no strings attached. Equity, on the other hand, it's like marriage. If you think about it, it's meant to be forever. And if it's not forever, it's really hard to unwind. So when we talk about funding, we'll talk about debt, but when we talk about investment, we'll talk about equity. Both are really important for any healthy business. You should always have a healthy amount of debt and equity on your balance sheet. But what I was finding in my 16 years in finance, women are really struggling to get both debt and equity. So I founded Jpalmer to make the level field a little bit more fair, level the playing field, make women have a better opportunity to get all the opportunities that they need to finance their business so they can scale it as best they can.
That's incredible. And it is so important. I know before you did this, you were the CEO of Gerber and you increased their portfolio by 140%. Then you went on and started this collective and you are making a big difference. Can you tell us a little bit about what gaps you saw in the market and how your firm is helping support them?
42% of all businesses, which is nearly 13 million, are owned by women. And women started 49% of the new businesses that were founded in the US in 2021. Yet female entrepreneurs, they say they can't get funding. In fact, 3/4 of female entrepreneurs have said this. On the debt side, women are only approved 33% of the time they go out seeking funding. And when they are approved, they only get 33% of what their male counterpart gets. On the VC side, they only get 3% of all VC investments. So Jpalmer was really born to create equity within the financing world, make financing much more inclusive for women.
What is that journey like in securing those loans, and how would you advise women to take a different approach?
Knowledge is power, right? And the more knowledgeable we are, the more confident we are. And you have to be confident when you're going out there raising money, whether it's debt or equity, but especially as a female entrepreneur. You need a certain additional level of confidence to impress investors and get them to feel confident that they can trust you with their money. So the best way to get that knowledge is to seek out the growing number of women within the finance space. There's more and more women that are coming into play, coming into power. And those women are very, very important because they can help you navigate the complex system of the funding world. And as there's more women at the top, there'll be more people, more women writing checks, and women will get more opportunities to get those investments. Women definitely have more luck getting checks from female check writers because we have shared experiences and we understand each other's ideas differently than men.
Now, if they are on that journey and they're trying to secure that capital, what are some things that you really look for in women to see that they are ready to be invested in that way?
It's a great question, Rachel. And at the end of the day, we talk about funding companies, we talk about funding brands, but it all comes down to the people. So first and foremost, know that you're working with good people. For me, it's everything. I've turned down deals where the balance sheet looks great and the collateral's there, and I even love the product, but if I don't feel a connection with the people, it's not the right deal for me. So always look for people that you want to work with. And on the flip side, I say to the entrepreneurs, make sure that when you're looking for your capital provider, that you're looking for a true partner, somebody who will provide you with consultative advice and really support you in the good times and the bad. It's going to be a wild year ahead of us in 23, so you want to make sure that whoever you really partner with, they'll be there with you through thick or thin.
So I love you providing this different approach so that people can kind of stay in that space where they get the capital that they need to continue going to fulfill those orders, to continue servicing their clients, but not going so far where they might look back 5 years later and say, what have I done? I'm not aligned with my partner. And I think that happens a lot. Would you give any advice to people on making those choices, how to make that decision to do an asset loan versus doing equity, like how to make those decisions on a partner?
Well, most of the times when we go out and buy real estate, we don't necessarily just take the equity in our business and go out and buy that piece of real estate. We wouldn't be able to get the same real estate that we could get if we leverage it. So same thing is true with a business. So it's important to have equity, but if you really want to scale your business, you have to take on some debt. You have to leverage it. And as women, we sometimes think of debt and we think of drowning in, credit card loans or student debt. But debt is a great way to build your business without diluting your equity interest. And 5 years down the line, you'll be thinking about an exit perhaps, or maybe another 5 years down the line. When you go for that exit, now it's all yours to keep. So you're going to sell your company and you don't need to share it with someone. And that's really important. And before you get there, along the way, you're also making those daily decisions on your own. And going back to the real estate example, if you had given up the debt side of it and it was all with equity, you would have somebody making decisions with you on a daily basis, like the curtains or how much the operating expenses should be in the commercial side of the example. So it gives you a lot more power on your day-to-day basis of running the company, and then it allows you to keep all of the wealth when you sell your business.
That's incredible. And I love the example of real estate because we do that every day. We buy that house and we're leveraging being able to get that loan to be able to get that. And then if we sell it and we made money, we actually made money off of OPM, other people's money, right? Yeah. So then we're able to actually grow our assets and to be able to really get our money working for us. And in best case scenario, get someone else's.
You got it.
So I love how you break that down because I think that is a big piece of this mindset for women and the tools that are crucial.
That they have the means to support you and that you share the same vision of what success means.
Absolutely. Now you started Jpalmer on International Women's Day in 2023. So can you tell us about how the female community has really responded to your new business, your new firm?
I would say the response has been overwhelming. I don't think that we anticipated it to be so great. Our community has been so supportive and really going out of their way to help us. But I think that the energy is what's most exciting. Everybody really wants to see women succeed, men and women. A lot of the men out there have gone out of their way to reach out and say, we're so happy that you're doing this. We have daughters, we have wives, we have sisters, and we want them to break that glass ceiling. We want to change the statistics around female entrepreneurs. So thank you for really stepping out on your own, taking a risk, and trying to change the world for women.
Wow, I love that. Now, if you've made that decision and you know this is what I need to talk to her, what is the behind the scenes? What do they need to prep? What do they need to be thinking about going to that meeting?
Really important to seek out some advice, outside advice. Sometimes we get very emotional or we're in the weeds of our own business. So if you have a friend who's a CPA or you know someone who's a CFO at a company, again, just ask them for 15 minutes of their time to help walk you through, or just even call a friend and pitch to them, or pretend that you're pitching. But as far as documentations go, it's really important to have your financials in clean shape. So you want to make sure that your books and records are in order. And by that I mean, make sure you have your balance sheet and your income statement and all of your AR, AP, inventory aging, things that show that your business is a real business. And I always say to young entrepreneurs, and by way of meaning they just started their company, you never ever cross-contaminate. So you never run personal expenses through your company because then it could show investors or funders that it's a bit of an ATM or it could be a lifestyle. So you want to make sure that from day one it's clean and nothing goes in and out of that company that's not commercial related.
That is such great advice. I want to ask the number one thing you'd love to leave with female founders, women who are coming up behind you and dreaming of having a fraction of the success that you've done.
It's a great question, and thank you for the compliment. Seek out a community. Seek out your supporters, your cheerleaders. I could never be where I am today without the community that I have, both personally and professionally. And I've chosen to surround myself with really great people who believe in me and believe in my mission and have just kept me going. And there's a lot of women out there who can be your cheerleader to a female entrepreneur. Seek them out, ask them for help. They'll be more than happy to give back their time to see other women succeed.
Incredible. Well, thank you for being here today. This is incredible. And thank you for tuning in.